We can't have free health care. We cannot have good Medicaid. We cannot have good nothing. But we can have a ballroom at the White House to inflate somebody's fucking ego.
The reason why American healthcare is so expensive is the same reason why they keep making sequels to the same movies, which is the same reason why your grocery bills are going up, which is the same reason as the reason why the media wants to keep us divided. Corporate greed. They make us believe that the Democrats and Republicans are going to save us from this misery, but in reality, this misery is the Democrats and the Republicans doing because they are bought and paid for by all these corporations that don't give a shit about us. And yet we're told to put the trust in one of them every 4 years. We're told that there are only options to be fairly represented in government. But what if we could do something better? The people yearn for change. The people yearn for a third party. Why not give it to us?
This is what our shitty ass healthcare has come to. Where my patients need medicine and supplies and their insurance won't cover it, and here I am spending my own money because my patient needs it, and he doesn't have any money and he can't work, and the insurance won't even cover what he needs. And I'm sad and I'm sick and tired of it.
Over 25 million Americans have no health insurance, and millions more are underinsured, meaning they skip care because they can't afford it. Just because everyone you know has healthcare doesn't mean healthcare inequity doesn't exist. Wild concept, I know, but healthcare shouldn't be a luxury that you budget for, like a concert ticket.
Greetings, my beautiful people. I hope you're well and welcome back to my channel. So how comes in the richest country in the world and the most powerful, 25 million Americans cannot afford health insurance? Millions of Americans, they avoid going to the hospital, not because they're healthy, but they're terrified of the bill that comes afterward. Imagine paying $600 just for a simple dental visit, That is rent money, groceries, or a family's entire budget gone in one appointment, And now with the so-called, the big beautiful bill, slashing Medicaid funding, millions of Americans are at more risk of losing access to healthcare altogether. Let's have a look. If you're new here, kindly consider subscribing so you never miss any update from my videos. Let's dive into it.
My medication, it runs $20,000 a month without insurance. I make $800 a month. Oh, that will kill me. That would kill my friends. That would kill millions of people in this country if they lose their health care.
Prove me wrong, but America not having standardized health insurance, standardized health care, is causing many Americans to die at a younger age. Prove me wrong. I've worked in the healthcare industry for 22 years, sometimes in the hospital, sometimes in public health, and I've seen firsthand of what lack of healthcare and lack of health insurance can do to our country. Now, I don't care what your political beliefs are. I think we all have to agree that individuals passing away at a younger age because they don't have access to affordable health care is a travesty. It is. Now, you may think America, oh my goodness, America can't do it. Look at the VA. America's got its issues, and in order to have a standardized healthcare system in this country, some things would have to change dramatically, and I agree with that. But every other first world country in the world has standardized healthcare. And in America, and again, I want you to prove me wrong, in America, people are not living as long because we don't have access to it.
So I was really getting to the point where I'm starting to really ask myself, what is going on with this country? Who did I really vote for? Because I voted for Trump. But at this point, I think both sides are in on this Israel situation, because I learned about the IDF healthcare law where our tax dollars are going to be paying for the healthcare of Israel troops. Okay? So all this does is let me know that America and Israel have a long time ago must have made some kind of deal or something, because at this point Why are we providing free health care for Israel troops who are out there killing children and starving people, when we have Americans who can't even afford to go to the doctor? They can't get health care here for free. So why are we paying, our tax dollars paying for Israel troops to have free health care? At this point, either Trump is just signing everything or anything, or they're all in on this. And I think number two is what the answer is. You know, at this point, I don't even care that I voted for Trump. Okay? At this point, it's us Americans against all the politicians, both sides, the government. Yeah, it's survival out here. It's us against them, because why? Literally, why are we paying for free health care for Israel troops? Why? Why? There are Americans struggling to pay for their health care. There's Americans struggling to get health care. They will let you die in America if you don't have health care and you go to the hospital. They will let you die. The first question they're going to ask you is, do you have health care? Whether you can speak or not. Like, I'm in a situation right now where, like, I have to switch health care, and I'm just like, why are we giving free health care when we are struggling to stay healthy ourselves? To take care of ourselves. People are paying thousands of dollars for medicine, and like, they can't even get a break. At this point, it's literally us against all the higher ups. We're like peasants at this point. Because why are you treating other countries, why are you constantly giving other countries everything and giving Americans nothing? Okay? We get up, we go to work, we slave every fucking day for a paycheck that's barely providing for us. The paychecks get taken at the first of the month with all the rent, bills, car payment, all that shit. And people are paying for health care on top of that. Like, why is America like this? Why? What did Americans do to the politician and the government that makes you guys treat us this way, where you put us not even second, not even third, not even fourth? What the fuck? We're just out here like trying to survive.
With the passage of the bill, millions of Americans are going to lose health care. They're going to lose access to food. Children are going to go hungry. People are going to die because they can't afford health care. If you voted for Trump and the Republicans, then that blood and that suffering, that is on your head.
This is the reality for millions of working class people. People are working two jobs, 3 jobs, or even 4 jobs, and yet they can't afford to see a doctor. The healthcare in America is designed not to care, but for profit, Insurance companies, pharmaceutical giants, and private hospitals, they make billions, while ordinary Americans are forced to choose between medicine and food. Many MAGA voters, they believe that electing Trump, he would make healthcare more affordable, life more easier, groceries go down. They were promised relief, but instead, what did they get? They got cuts, confusion, and skyrocketing medical costs. At this point, Americans feel that even no Democrat or Republican will ever going to save their situation, because the truth is that both parties have failed the American people on healthcare. Politicians use the issue as a campaign tool, but once they get into office, when it comes to action, it's the people who pays the price.
Elections have consequences. And now that the big, beautiful bill has been signed into law, let's talk about Medicaid real quick, shall we? Now that this big, dusty bill has been passed, there are going to be major cuts to Medicaid and millions of Americans are going to lose access to health care. But here's where the gotcha factor comes in for Trump voters. Y'all remember how a lot of them did not understand that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act were the same thing? Well, let me teach you a thing or two about Medicaid. And I'm going to purposely take the liberty of focusing on the red states, okay? So if you live in Wyoming and you have equality care, guess what you have? That's right, you have Medicaid. If you live in Tennessee and you have TennCare, guess what you have? You have Medicaid. If you live in Texas and you have Star Plus, guess what you have? You have Medicaid. If you live in Kansas and you have CanCare, guess what? You have Medicaid. If you live in Mississippi and you have Mississippi Can, you also have Medicaid. If you are living in Alaska and you have Denali Care, that is Medicaid. Let me do a few more for y'all. If you live in Iowa and you have IA Health Link, that's Medicaid. If you live in Louisiana and you have Bayou Health or Healthy Louisiana, that is Medicaid. If you live in Missouri and you have MO HealthNet, also Medicaid. And the interesting thing about Medicaid having different names for each state is that larger insurance companies can provide Medicaid as well, such as United Healthcare, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Like here in Virginia, if you have Virginia Medicaid, you have the option of choosing. Actually, it's not an option. You have to choose a plan through Aetna or United Healthcare or Blue Cross Blue Shield, whatever options are provided to you based on the area in which you live. So if you say, well, you've named all of these different types of Medicaids, and my Medicaid doesn't explicitly say that, if you have insurance through the state and it's through a larger insurance company, such as the ones that I stated or whatever is available in your area, you have Medicaid. So to the Trump voters that voted for Donnie T, thinking that a vote for him was going to be a leg up for you, the rug is about to be pulled out from right under you and you don't even know it yet. And it's so disappointing because millions of Americans who rely on Medicaid because it provides the medical care for people who really need it, especially because healthcare is super expensive. But as I always say, elections have consequences, and you guys will see exactly what we mean as soon as this stuff goes into effect in 2026.
17 million Americans losing access to healthcare is going to devastate and escalate the existing mental health crisis in America beyond anything that any of us can fathom. It's one thing to say people are going to lose access to healthcare, and another to actually inventory all of the ways that is going to devastate people's lives and impact every single one of us. When we are talking people not getting mental health treatment, we're also talking about people not getting substance use treatment either. And we are talking about people being dropped from treatment, mid-treatment, no matter what that looks like. And we're talking about people going off of their medication cold turkey. If they can't afford their medication, how the fuck do you think they're going to pay for it out of pocket? Not going to happen. And then what happens? Oh, we're in withdrawal. And when we're in withdrawal, that is a really bad state to be in. And if you have never been in withdrawal, so happy for you, Mazel Tov, congratulations. It is horrible. It is horrible and you can't function. And speaking of which, if you can't function, you're probably gonna, be in a crisis, not be able to work, blah, blah, blah. Your life is in shambles, chaos. Not good. Oh, also the emergency rooms. I don't think we realize how much of a burden mental health crises put on emergency rooms and how much mental health therapy, like behavioral health being outpatient, inpatient, whatever you might have outside of a hospital emergency room, how much that care is important in making sure the emergency rooms are clear for like physical emergencies or mental health emergencies that are absolutely at the like crisis point to the extreme. This is not just, oh, you can't go to therapy and you can't talk about your feelings. It is going to impact all of us simply because there's not going to be access to mental health treatment.
Israel can have free health care. They can have all sorts of weapons of mass destruction, and we can't have free health care. We can't have cheap schooling. This is taxation without representation, guys. Like, when the fuck do you guys stop caring about being true patriots? We fought a war over a tax on tea leaves. Tea! And now, you're okay with giving all your money to foreign governments so that they can have the health care they need, so they can defend their borders. But you can't defend your own livelihood. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. You can't have life without health care. And there is no pursuit of happiness when you're all slaves working for corporations that give two fucking shits about you. Nobody cares. But guess what? You're just gonna get up tomorrow and act like nothing happened. When the are we gonna wake up? When?
Can I vent for a second? So I went to the dermatologist like a month ago because I had a mole that was kind of like a little bit suspicious to me. So I go get it checked out. They're like, yeah, we want to do like a little hole punch excision thing. Get to check out. They tell me it's $400. Mind you, I have health insurance. I pay roughly like, I don't know, $200 a month for health insurance through my company. And then they come back and they're like, yeah, it's a little bit suspicious. We want to cut out more of it and give you stitches. So I come back today for that. And I should have asked how much it was going to be. I just assumed it was going to be similar to like what I paid last time. Tell me why I get to check out. They tell me, let me get the receipt. Sorry. They tell me it's going to be $975 today that I have to pay out of pocket, which nobody warned me ahead of time it was going to be that much. Like, I almost started crying. Luckily, I have a credit card. But the lady's like, don't worry, you have an $88 credit on your account. Like, I literally audibly said, well, thank God. Followed up by, I hate America and Jesus fucking Christ, which she probably wasn't the right audience for this. I live in the South, in the Bible Belt. But please get me out of here. Like, the healthcare system here is so messed up. And I have to come back in 2 weeks to get my stitches out. And I was like, my eyes are like tearing up. You can probably see. I was like, how much is that going to cost? And she's like, oh, don't worry, it's included. I was like, well, thank God.
Healthcare in America really is a funny thing. I went to the dermatologist the other day to get a mole removed, which was taken care of because it was starting to pull on bra straps and stuff. But while I was there, I had mentioned a cyst that I had by my spine, and she kind of freaked me out a little bit because there is a type of cyst that can actually eat its way into areas it shouldn't. So she wanted to make sure, and I got an ultrasound. And luckily, I'm very grateful. It is nothing, but now I owe $81 for nothing. To be told, you're good. I don't even have that $81, so.
Think about this. In most developed countries, healthcare is a right, not a privilege. In Canada, in the UK, and in most parts of Europe, people don't go bankrupt because they got sick. But in America, thousands of families are destroyed every year by medical debt. People delay treatment until it's too late, Some even die because they simply couldn't afford to walk into a hospital. So here we are, in the richest country in the world, but millions cannot afford to see a doctor. Our politicians will continue to debate. Insurance companies will continue to profit. But the American people are the ones that are going to pay the price with their wallets, their health, and in many cases, their lives. And that should make us all ask, what good is wealth and power if your own people cannot afford to stay alive? America doesn't just have a healthcare crisis, it has a moral crisis. It should think about how people are going to benefit when it comes to matter healthcare, because healthcare is a very important, thing in someone's life. If you cannot afford healthcare, if the country cannot provide accessible healthcare to its citizens, what's the point of living? So I think America should consider having a better healthcare for its citizens. You know, it put so much effort into helping other countries outside, but it seems that they forgetting their own citizens, and citizens have reached a point they are tired, they are extremely tired, and they have lost hope in the government, in the politicians. People are just surviving. Mental health is on the rise. People don't see the need of living because people are struggling on a daily basis. Groceries, rent, healthcare, you know? Life is never easy for the ordinary American. So we can only wish that things are going to change, okay? Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.